Hey, welcome back. It's a Freaky Friday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. We're coming today as we do every single day from the Question Tequila Studios. We are loaded up. You got to tune in on Saturday, tomorrow at 5 p.m. for the best shots of Liquid Lunch, which is a compilation of all the greatest guests, the greatest interviews, and the greatest behind-the-scenes screw-ups our team has. And we have some major victories behind the scenes, too. That's why the show is so pleasing to you every day, because of our wonderful team. I get mad, and if you think my face is showing me mad, you got to see what really happens. Tune in tomorrow at 5 p.m. Okay, if it's the best shots of Liquid Lunch, Michelle Malkin, and then the Grand Poobah at 7. Bill O'Reilly, right here on Newsmax every Saturday. Every single day, we do what no other show on television does. We bring on a Democrat or Republican. I throw out the topics. I mix up a drink. They mix it up. We have thoughtful conversation. One rule at the end, we shake hands and part friends. Today, to mix it up for you, joining us again on set is John McDonagh. He's a cab driver. He's a comic. And he's also a U.S. Army veteran. And Rich Valdes, you've seen him many times here. He's the host of the This Is America podcast. He's a producer on the Mark Levin Show, a former aide to Chris Christie, and not formally announced, but highly considering a run against Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to knock her out of the box. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. We have a prestigious team today, and I would like you guys to take a look at what one Nancy Pelosi had to say yesterday, and then we'll comment on it.
You heard an appointment of the president speak in very unambiguous terms. A courageous public servant. The devastating testimony corroborated evidence of bribery uncovered in the inquiry, and that the president abused power and violated his oath by threatening to withhold military aid and a White House meeting in exchange for an investigation into his political rival. A clear attempt of the president to give himself the advantage in the 2020 election. Doing so, as I've said to the president, jeopardize our national security, undermine our national security, jeopardize the integrity of our electoral system, violate your oath of office.
Rich, I'll ask you first. You noticed it's not a quid pro quo anymore. Now the new term is bribery.
Yeah, well, they wanted to start off with Latin to try to fool people, and now they switch it up to bribery. The reality is, she is so full of it. I like to say this is Bolshevik. This is straight out of the Soviet Union.
Got me nervous there.
Ha! It really is, though. This is just like the Bolshevik Party in the old Soviet Republic. They're doing the same thing. Schiff is following the same exact playbook. I mean, this morning, about 5 minutes ago, not to switch gears too much, he just silenced Elise Stefanik, Congresswoman from New York, from trying to question Ambassador Yovanovitch. Why? Because having a woman ask questions in a more aggressive manner than a man would is not good TV. So he had to put an end to that. What we saw this morning and what we saw with the clip in Pelosi is the same thing. These are people that have nothing to do with what's really going on here, which is they're trying to push Trump out of office by hook or by crook, by any means necessary.
Johnny, what do you think?
I am against the impeachment. I'm in the Alan Dershowitz camp, where they're now trying to criminalize politics. All aid, no matter what country it goes to, comes with strings. Now, it's what strings that you want to add to it that is being debated right now, you could say, in Congress about, when Obama did it, he said, I'll give no aid to Israel unless I stop the housing or the settlements in the West Bank. Or when he said to Russia, wait till after the election. You can't criminalize that. That's politics. He went in there, and I would say the same thing. If Obama was up now, based on the conversation that he had with Russia, or what he did with Iran, or what he did with Israel with the settlements in the West Bank, I would be against that. So what they're doing now to Trump is the same thing. We have an election coming up in less than a year. If you don't think the 20 candidates in the Democratic Party can beat Donald Trump without the impeachment, then you shouldn't be running.
Well, we got to leave it right there, guys. We mix it up every day. On Friday, we bring in the heavy hitters. John McDonagh, U.S. Army veteran, cabbie, comic, friend of Randy Credico, unfortunately for him. And Rich Valdes, you got to check out the This Is America podcast.
Thank you.
And sometimes, every so often, if you watch Mark Levin or listen to him on the radio like I do, you hear him yelling at his folks like I do sometimes. And when he's screaming and yelling at Mr. Call Screener guy, if you want to put a face to a name. That's him. That's Mr. Call Screener guy. That's the least of what he is. He's a great contributor for us. He's a great commentator on his radio show. And you got to check out This Is America podcast. It's really good. We're going to go some anchored live coverage of the impeachment hearings right after this. We're going to take a quick break. Stay right there. More Liquid Lunch coming back at you after this.